King Solomon inherited a vast kingdom. His father, King David, had unified the tribes of Israel. David left Solomon with a legacy of military strength and national pride. Solomon, however, was known for a different quality wisdom. From a young age, he displayed an extraordinary ability to judge fairly and wisely. His reputation grew. People traveled from distant lands to seek his counsel. Solomon's wisdom was not merely a human trait, it was a divine gift. According to the scriptures, God appeared to Solomon in a dream. He offered Solomon anything his heart desired. Solomon chose wisdom above all else. Impressed by his humility, God granted him wisdom beyond measure. This wisdom guided Solomon's early reign. It led to peace and prosperity for his kingdom. King Solomon's reign was a golden age for Israel, a time when the kingdom reached unparalleled heights of wealth and influence. The kingdom experienced unprecedented wealth and prosperity, with its cities expanding and its people thriving. Trade flourished under Solomon's rule, bringing in goods from far and wide. He established trade relations with distant kingdoms, ensuring a steady flow of resources and wealth. Gold, silver, ivory, and exotic animals flowed into Israel, making it a land of abundance. The kingdom became a crossroads of commerce and culture, attracting traders and scholars from all over the world. Solomon's wisdom extended to matters of governance and justice, earning him a reputation as a fair and just ruler. He reformed the legal system, ensuring that laws were fair and just for all. He ensured fair treatment for all his subjects, regardless of their status or wealth. His reign was characterized by peace, justice, and abundance, creating a stable and prosperous society. Solomon used the kingdom's wealth wisely, investing in projects that would benefit his people for generations to come. He invested in infrastructure projects, building roads, cities, and fortresses. These projects strengthened the kingdom and secured its borders, making it a formidable power in the region. The fortified cities and well-guarded borders ensured the safety and security of his people. He also patronized the arts and sciences, fostering a culture of learning and creativity. His court became a center of learning and creativity, attracting the brightest minds of the time. Scholars, poets, and musicians flocked to his court, finding in Solomon a generous patron and an inspiring leader. They found in Solomon a generous patron and an inspiring leader whose legacy of wisdom and prosperity would be remembered for generations. Solomon's most enduring legacy was the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem. This monumental achievement not only showcased his dedication to his faith, but also his commitment to his people. This magnificent structure was intended to be the dwelling place of God, a sacred space where the divine presence could be felt by all who entered. It was a symbol of God's covenant with the Israelites, a physical manifestation of the promises made to their ancestors. The temple's construction was a massive undertaking, requiring immense resources and meticulous planning. It involved the labor of thousands of skilled artisans and laborers, each contributing their expertise to create a masterpiece. Precious materials were brought from all corners of the kingdom, including gold, silver, and rare stones, reflecting the wealth and prosperity of Solomon's reign. The temple's design was both intricate and awe-inspiring, featuring detailed carvings and elaborate decorations that left visitors in awe. It was adorned with gold, silver, and precious stones, making it not only a place of worship, but also a symbol of the kingdom's glory and splendor. The temple's completion marked the pinnacle of Solomon's reign, a crowning achievement that would be remembered for generations. It was a testament to his devotion to God, his vision for his kingdom, and his status as a wise and powerful ruler. Solomon's leadership and foresight were evident in every aspect of the temple's construction. The Ark of the Covenant, containing the Ten Commandments, was placed within the temple's holiest chamber, signifying the deep spiritual significance of the structure. The temple became the center of religious life in Israel, a place where people gathered to connect with their faith and community. It was a place of pilgrimage, worship, and sacrifice, drawing believers from far and wide to partake in its sacred rituals and ceremonies. The Temple of Jerusalem stood as a beacon of faith, unity, and divine presence. As Solomon's fame grew, so did his ambition. His wisdom and wealth became legendary, attracting the attention of rulers and dignitaries from distant lands. Solomon's court was a hub of activity, with emissaries and traders flocking to Jerusalem to witness his splendor and seek his counsel. He sought to secure his kingdom's position through strategic alliances. These alliances were not merely political maneuvers, but also a means to expand his influence and ensure the prosperity of his realm. He entered into marriages with foreign princesses, each union symbolizing a new bond and a promise of peace between nations. These marriages were grand affairs, celebrated with opulence and splendor, showcasing the wealth and power of Solomon's kingdom. These alliances brought political stability and access to new trade routes. The influx of goods and wealth from these routes enriched Israel, making it a center of commerce and culture in the ancient world. However, they also brought about the seeds of Solomon's downfall. The very alliances that strengthened his kingdom also introduced foreign influences that began to erode the foundations of his rule. Solomon's foreign wives came from different cultures and religious backgrounds. They brought with them their own traditions, customs, and beliefs, which began to permeate the court and the kingdom. They brought with them their own gods and practices. These foreign deities and rituals started to find a place in the heart of Israel, challenging the monotheistic faith that had been the cornerstone of the nation's identity. Solomon, in his desire to please his wives, allowed the worship of foreign deities within Israel. He built altars and temples for these gods, hoping to maintain harmony within his diverse household. This angered God, who had commanded the Israelites to worship only one God. The introduction of idol worship was seen as a betrayal of the covenant between God and his people. Solomon's fascination with foreign cultures led him to indulge in extravagant displays of wealth and power. His court was filled with treasures from across the known world, and his markets were bustling with exotic goods. He amassed a vast harem consisting of hundreds of wives and concubines. This harem was not just a symbol of his power, but also a reflection of his desire to forge connections with as many foreign powers as possible. He built opulent palaces and gardens for their pleasure. These constructions were marvels of architecture and design, intended to impress both his subjects and foreign visitors. His court became a place of lavish banquets and entertainments. Musicians, dancers, and performers from various cultures entertained the guests, creating a vibrant and cosmopolitan atmosphere. This extravagance placed a heavy burden on the Israelites. The common people who had once revered Solomon for his wisdom began to feel the weight of his ambitions. They were forced to pay high taxes to finance Solomon's excesses. The strain on the populace grew, leading to discontent and unrest, which would eventually contribute to the kingdom's division after Solomon's death. Section 5. A kingdom divided. Solomon's departure from God's law had dire consequences. The kingdom, once united and prosperous, began to crumble from within. The people, burdened by taxes and disillusioned by their king's behavior, grew restless. Resentment against Solomon's rule festered. The seeds of division were sown. God, angered by Solomon's disobedience, decided to punish him. He announced his judgment through the prophet Ahijah. Ahijah prophesied that Solomon's kingdom would be torn in two. Only one tribe, Judah, would remain loyal to Solomon's heir. The remaining 10 tribes would break away and form a separate kingdom. This prophecy shook Solomon to his core. It was a stark reminder of the price of his disobedience. Section 6. The Prophet's Warning. The prophet Ahijah delivered God's message directly to Solomon. He confronted the king about his straying from the path of righteousness. Ahijah reminded Solomon of the covenant God had made with his father David. He warned Solomon that his pursuit of foreign gods and his extravagant lifestyle had angered God. This divine displeasure would result in the division of his kingdom. Ahijah's prophecy was not a foregone conclusion, it was a warning, a chance for Solomon to repent and return to God. However, Solomon, blinded by pride and arrogance, ignored the prophet's message. He continued his pursuit of personal pleasure and worldly power. He failed to heed the divine warning. This failure had catastrophic consequences for his kingdom and his legacy. Section 7. Solomon's Regret. In his final days, as his kingdom teetered on the brink of collapse, Solomon is said to have realized the gravity of his errors. The wisdom that had once guided him seemed to elude him. He saw the once mighty kingdom his father had entrusted to him crumbling before his eyes. The weight of his mistakes pressed down on him. Regret and sorrow filled his heart. Despite his wisdom, Solomon had succumbed to the temptations of power and wealth. He had allowed his desires to override his judgment. The consequences of his actions were severe. His kingdom, once a beacon of unity and prosperity, was now fractured and weakened. Section 8. The Fragility of Wisdom. Solomon's story is a cautionary tale about the fragility of wisdom and power. Despite being blessed with unparalleled wisdom, Solomon's reign ended in failure. His story reminds us that wisdom, no matter how profound, is not a guarantee against human fallibility. It can be eroded by pride, ambition, and the allure of worldly pleasures. Power, without the guiding hand of wisdom and righteousness, can corrupt even the most discerning heart. Solomon's reign demonstrates how easily the pursuit of personal gratification can lead to the neglect of duty and the erosion of moral values. Section 9. Lessons from a Fallen King. Solomon's life offers valuable lessons for leaders and ordinary individuals alike. It teaches us that true wisdom lies in seeking God's will and adhering to his principles. Material wealth and worldly power are fleeting. They should never come at the expense of one's integrity or spiritual foundation. Humility, gratitude, and a commitment to justice are essential qualities for those in positions of power. Solomon's downfall serves as a timeless reminder that even the wisest among us are susceptible to human weakness. We must constantly strive to align our actions with our values and seek guidance from a power greater than ourselves.